Hey y'all, I'm going to cover just percentages in this video, and then I'll do exponential functions in a separate video, even though it's the same packet, just to make it a little easier because I will cover percents first. It has its own homework packet, and then we'll do exponential functions. So a definition, percent means per 100 or parts per 100, okay? That's just a definition of what percent means. So everything we're going to be dealing with is going to have to do with 100. So given a fraction, we're going to take the 2/5, we're going to write it as a percent. So let me grab my calculator because it's full time prepared. Um, so all you need is your calculator. We can just take your calculator and go, okay, just take 2/5. So we're going to go from 2/5. That's just 2 divided by 5 equals, and I get 0.4. I don't know if this is better with or without the light. Okay. So this is in decimal form. So whenever I use the words decimal form, this is what I'm referring to. This is percentages in decimal form. This is fraction form, of course. And then to change a decimal, because you can't go straight from a fraction to a percent, you're going to have to change it to a decimal first. And then anytime you need to change a decimal to a percent, you're just going to multiply it by 100 and add a cute little percent sign. Okay. All right. Write each as a percent. We've got 3/4, 4/5, and 7/10. I would like for you to do the same method I just did. Pause the video and then come back and do it and watch how I do it and to verify you got it right. You can always speed me up if you need to. So 3 divided by 4 is equal to 0.75 times 100 is 75%. Once you multiply it times 100, it becomes a percentage. 4/5 is 0.8 times 100 is equal to 80%. And then lastly, 7/10 is 0.7 times 100 is 70%. We'll have practice with more coming up, different kinds. Given a fraction 2/3, okay, this one's a little bit of a different situation here. We're going to write it as a percent and we're going to round it to the nearest tenth place. So when you're taking my test, please make sure that you pay attention to what they're saying, what I'm asking for rounding, because that is a part of your directions that you need to be following. Okay, switch this over. All right, so 2/3, I'm going to put it in the calculator, and you're going to see that that is 0.6 continuous. Please note this 7 is just a rounded up 6. So 6 continues forever and ever. So I'm just going to write 0.66666, and it just keeps going on and on. And we're going to round it to the nearest percent. The first we're going to do have to make it a percent by multiplying by 100. Okay, and I got 66.6666 continuous. Okay, and this is a percent. But they want us to round. We want to round to the nearest tenth. The tenth place is the first place to the right of the decimal. That is your tenth place. Whenever I'm teaching folks how to round, the first place, the digit you're going to round to is called the rounding digit. And the number just to the right is the test digit. If the test digit is greater than 5, as this one is, we add 1. I know in school they told you to round up. That doesn't mean anything mathematically. So we're going to add 1 to the rounding digit, and everything else will become 0. So they will go away. So this becomes 66.7%. And there you go. All right, the fractions are equivalent to what percent? So again, we're going to have to do what we did in the previous ones. So pause the video. You're going to have to do some rounding. You're going to have to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So this will be good practice for you. Pause the video and then come back and watch me do it. All right, 5 divided by 7. And then that's 0.7. 714 times 100. I'm going to go ahead and write that. I'm going to write more than 4. 2857. You don't need to write this down. You can leave it in your calculator and just multiply by 100 like what I'm about to do. All right, and I got 71.4285. I'm just going to do that. 78.42. I can stop there because I'm rounding to the 10th, and this is a percent. So there's my rounding digit. There's my test digit. Now, in this case, my test digit is less than 5, which means I do not add 1 to my rounding digit. I just drop the test digit. It becomes 0, and my answer is 78.4%. All right, 7/9. 0.7 continuous. Make that a percent by multiplying by 100, and I got 77.77%. All right, now we need to round. So here's my rounding digit. Here's my test digit. My test digit is greater than 5, so I need to add 1 to my rounding digit, and the other digits to the right will go away. So that's 77.8%. Next one is 2 divided by 11. 0.18 continuous. Times 100. And that's 18.18. I'm just going to leave it like that because I only need these two places right here. I need my rounding digit and I need my test digit. My test digit is greater than 5, so I need to add 1 to my rounding digit, and anything to the right becomes 0. So my answer is 18.2%. Let me know what questions you have regarding that. All right, now we're going to do something a little different. Now we don't even deal with fractions. Now we're just dealing with the decimal aspect of it. So given a decimal, 2.15, we're going to write it as a percent. So I'm going to write 2.15, and all we have to do is multiply by 100 and add the percent symbol. Okay, pause the video, do these for yourself, and then come back to see how you did. Times 100 is 23%. Times 100 is 21.5%. Times 100 is 109%. And times 100 is 0.95%. I wanted you to see this one for sure because even though it's a decimal, it's still a percent because we've already multiplied it by 100. So it is a percent. All right, let's go to our next one. Given a percent, 2.59%, we're going to write as a decimal. So up to this point, we've been going from a decimal to percent by multiplying by 100. How do you think we get from a percent to a decimal? We do the opposite. We do I lost the word. We're going to do the opposite, the inverse. There we go. We're going to do the inverse, and we're going to divide by 100. So right now I've got 2.59%. Once I divide this by 100, the percent sign goes away. Okay. So 2.59 divided by 100 is 0.0259. Please note no percent sign. Once you divide by 100, the percent sign goes away. Please go ahead and do these next 4 and then come back to see how you did. Pause the video. All right, 15, I'm dividing by 100, so my percent sign's gone. 4 divided by 100, I'm doing B, is 0.04. 7.5 divided by 100 is 0.075. And then 0.59 divided by 100 is 0.0059. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now, given a percent, same concept, instead of changing it to a decimal, we're wanting to change it to a fraction. Okay, in reduced terms. So we want to make sure and reduce. So we're going to do the same thing. To get rid of the percent, we have to divide it by 100. Okay. The percent sign is now gone. It is a fraction. I'm not going to go ahead and make it a decimal. All I need to do now is just reduce. You will always divide by 100 to get rid of the percent. So anything we do, it will be dividing by 100. I know 2 goes into both of these. I'm thinking 4 does. 4 goes into 32 8 times, and 4 goes into 125. And 25 does not have anything incomparable to 8. Okay, there's that one. Pause the video and attempt these yourself. Take each one of them, get rid of the percent sign by dividing by 100, and just reduce them. Pause the video and come back. 20 divided by 100, 20 goes into 105 times. 86 divided by 100. I know they're both divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide both by 2. And I get 43 over 50. And 43 is prime. 58 over 100. Now I need to reduce these by 2. Divide both by 2. And I get 50. 58 is what? 29. And it is prime. So there's my reduced version. All right. Switching gears a little bit. Now we're going to talk about a couple of different options here. All right. The one that students tend to prefer, unless you're an older, mature student, I'm thinking 25 or older who've experienced life and such, you're going to have your own method. And that's okay, because I don't care how you do it. I'm just trying to help those who don't already have a way of handling the situation. So your first option is what I use for myself personally whenever I'm in the store or whenever I'm leaving a tip or whatever. I think of a sentence in my head like, what is 20% of my total bill for a restaurant? So I can leave a 20% tip. And I put those words into mathematical symbols in my head and I solve it that way. But if you're going to do that, you need to know that the words what number, you're going to probably use X, you can use any variable, is always means equals, is means equals, and of means multiply. Okay. So when you see what number, that's X, is equals 70% of multiply 40. That's how that works out. Now, whenever you get to the next page, it's going to be more difficult to use this version. So I found that the students in class this semester, at least, have chosen to go with these. These are all the exact same formula, but they are just algebraically maneuvered and changed to solve for the part, the percent, and the whole. What do I mean by part, percent, and whole? Percent will have a percent symbol that you will have to change to a decimal. Part is the smaller piece, and whole is the entire thing as far as numbers. So when I say what number is 70% of 40, well, there's your percent. There's the percent. And 40, so the number is part of 40. So we're looking for the part. This is our percent. And the 40 is our whole. So if we're looking for the part is equal to percent times whole. What you need to understand about that is in order to solve for part or for whole, where it has the word percent, this has to be in decimal form. It cannot be utilized with the percent symbol. So if I use part is equal to percent times whole, I'm solving for part, Percent is 70, but I've got to change that to a decimal by dividing by 100. And that's 0.7 times the whole, which is 40. So now I can solve for that part that's 70% of 40 by multiplying, and I get 28. So the number is 28. Where did I get the number? Right here. I'm literally use their words. I don't need to come up with something new. Okay, pause the video. This one's just like that. I would like for you to practice it and then come back to see how I do it. Okay, what number, that's the part, is 45%? Divide that by 100. So 45 divided by 100 is 0.45. That's my percent. Times 155. And I got 69.75. So the number is 69.75. All right, next one. 105 is what percent of 225? So now we're looking for the percent. Percent is part divided by whole times 100, and don't forget the percent sign. So when we solve this, it's going to be in decimal form, and we have to change it to a percent. So percent is equal to part divided by whole, and then I always like to say times 100. So the percent is 105, which is part of 225. And I got 0.46 continuous times 100, 46.6 continuous. Now I just made this a percent. They don't tell us what to round to, but I think in class we discussed about just rounding to the 10th digit if it wasn't given, because that's my rounding digit. The number to the right is my test digit. So this is equivalent to 46.7% because 6 is larger than 5. So we add 1 to our rounding digit. Okay. Pause the video and attempt this next one yourself. It's just like that. Okay. So percent is equal to 170 divided by 245 times 100. And I got 0.693 blah, blah, blah times 100. I got 69.387. 69.38. That's all I need. I know it's a percent. I'm going to round to my tenths. My test digit's an 8. So I add 1 to my rounding digit, and I get 69.4%. All right, last type of problem. So these are 3 different types of problems here. This is one group, and this next group that we're about to do. You're going to have one of each of these on the exam. So just make sure that you understand that whenever you're writing your note card. All right, 18 is 30% of what number? So we're looking for the whole, which is just part divided by percent. The part is 18. The percent is 30, but it has to be in decimal form. So 30 divided by 100 is 0.3. And 60 is the answer. 60 is the number. All right, pause the video, attempt this next one yourself. Okay, so same thing. Part divided by percent, so 130 divided by 65 divided by 100 is 0.65. $200. All right, let me know what questions you have. Now, with these, you're going to want to reword the questions to use the formulas that we've already been using. That's why we stayed pretty consistent in class with using these same exact ones. We just need to be able to figure out which is the part and which is the percent, which is the whole. It's relatively easy to figure out the percent because it has a percent symbol. The part is the smaller number because it's part of the whole. So Valerie paid $170 for an item that was originally priced at $550. Well, this is going to be the part. This is going to be the whole. What percent, so we're solving for percent, of the original price did Valerie pay? Round your answers to the nearest tenth. So we need to make sure that we do that of a percent and add our percent symbol. Because this is a word problem, we will need to answer in a sentence. Okay, so percent is equal to part divided by whole times 100. And don't forget your percent symbol. So its part is 170 over 550 times 100. Times 100. And I got 30.909. And this is now a percent. And we're rounding to the tenths place. That's my rounding digit. The 0 is my test digit, so these just disappear. So my answer is Valerie paid, you could say she, if you want to give her a pronoun. Valerie paid $30.90. No, I'm sorry. What percent paid 30.9% of the original price? Okay. Go ahead and pause the video and attempt this next one yourself. You can do this. It's the same concept. You're solving for percent. Trader Joe's sold 8,132 bags of tortilla chips last month. If 7,687 of those bags were fat-free, find the percent that were fat-free and round your answer to the nearest percent. So this is different. You're going to round to the nearest whole number because this is round to the nearest percent. Pause the video, attempt this, come back, see how you did. Again, we're solving for percent, so part divided by whole times 100. So part is 7687. The whole is 8132. And it's 0.945 times 100 for percent, 94.527. Actually, I just need to go to the 5 because I'm rounding to the nearest percent. That means 4 is my rounding digit. 5 is my test digit. Well, 5 is 5 or greater, so I need to add 1 to my rounding digit, and the 5 goes away. So what's the question? Find the percent that were fat-free. 95% were fat-free. There's my answer. 76% of the questions on a student's test were correct. So we're not solving for percent. There were 50 questions. That's probably the whole. How many questions were correct? Yes, so we're solving for part. Part is equal to percent in decimal form times the whole. The percent is 76%, so 76 divided by 100 is 0.76 times the whole, which is 50. $38. So let's answer the question. How many questions were correct? 38 questions were correct. Next victim. Pause the video. Attempt this one yourself. Okay. And then come back and see how you did. And we'll talk about something with this as well. At a restaurant, the bill comes to 35 bucks. If you decide to leave a 15% tip, how much is the tip? So we're just looking for the tip. We're not looking for the total amount of the bill. How much are you leaving the server? So we're looking for part because it's 15% of the 35. So part is percent times whole. My percent is 15, in decimal form is 0.15, and $35 was the whole bill. So the tip that is going to be left is $5.25. Now, it was already taken care of for you because it is already rounded to the nearest cent. The penny is the smallest denomination of money that we have. So we should always, always, always round money to the hundredths or 2 places to the right of the decimal. So to write my sentence, the question was, how much is the tip? The tip is, was, will be, pick a verb, was $5.25. What is the sales tax on a suit priced at $295 if the sales tax is 7%? Again, we're looking for the part because we don't know how much sales tax is being paid for on it. The total price of the suit is $295 and it's 7%. Pause the video, do that one yourself, and then come back and see how you did. 7 divided by 100 for percent would be 0.07 times $295 was $20.65. What is the sales tax on the suit? So don't forget your dollar symbol. It's already rounded to the hundredths place. $20.65 is the sales tax on the suit. Let me know what questions you have. All right. What is the sales tax on a suit priced at $1,266 if the sales tax is 6%? So again, we're just looking for the tax, and the sales tax is part of the whole, because the whole would be, yeah, the whole is 1266, and the part is the part we're looking for. So part is percent times whole. So that is 12% is 6%. 6 divided by 100 is 0.06 times 1266. And I got 75.96. The sales tax on the suit. So we're looking for sales tax. So $75.96. I've got my dollar sign, is the sales tax on the suit. Okay. A lender requires a minimum down payment of 16% of the value of the home. You have $39,000 cash available to you as a down payment towards a home. Determine the maximum home value that you can finance. I understand we live in a very diminished or low income area, and I know that our houses can be sold for very low. But in this case, when we're talking about a down payment, when you go to buy a house, you typically want to have money, vested money, that you want to give to the bank and say, look, I'm providing you money. How much of a house can I afford? And that's only part of the price of the house. So if you have $39,000 that you've saved, that is only part of the value of the home. We are looking for the maximum home value that we can finance. And we also have the percent. So we're looking for the whole. All right. And that is equal to, it's part divided by percent. Yep. Part divided by percent. Okay. So 39,000 is our part. Percent is, they're saying that that's 16% of the house. In decimal form, 16 divided by 100 is 0.16. Two, 4, 3, 7, 5, 0. Now, I've given this one on an exam before, and the only reason I say what I did about that is because I've had students saying that the house was 39,000, and then they found the part looking for the amount that was put down. But they're telling you how much was put down. It was $39,000, which is 16% of the value of the home. So they wanted to know what the value of the home would be. All right. So determine the max value that you can finance. Put my dollar sign. Is the most, is determine the max home value is the max home value you can finance. There you go. For this one, I don't necessarily need the zeros, but if there is change at all, you never write, like, let's visit this one again. You would never write 75.9. That just gives me, you always have to go to the hundreds place. Okay. The other thing I don't understand is there's students who put the dollar sign behind like $75.96, and that's not how we write money in the United States. So I'm not sure where that came from. I think it was some instructors are showing us some crazy stuff. All right, given two quantities. I want to stop, man. You know what? I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to actually make 3 for this section because possibly even more, but I'm going to do absolute relative change in a separate video. Let me know what questions you have.